Have you ever wondered why some men are remembered forever, while others vanish like they never existed? Why even years later a woman will still think about one man, not because he was the richest, not because he was the most handsome, and not because he knew all the right words, but because he made her feel something unforgettable. This is Stoic Reflections, where we uncover timeless wisdom from philosophy, psychology, and the human experience, so you can master yourself, your emotions, and your relationships. And today, we're going to reveal a truth that most men never realize. Women don't carry memories of the flashy or the perfect. They carry memories of the men who touched something far deeper inside them. Think about it. Women receive attention every single day. Compliments, messages, dates, men trying to impress them. And yet most of it fades. It blends into the background because it all feels the same. But every once in a while, she meets a man who stands out. Not because he chased her, begged her, or tried too hard, but because he showed qualities most men never display. A presence, a strength, a calmness that reaches deeper than the surface. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you want to be unforgettable, it doesn't come from being perfect. It doesn't come from wealth, muscles, or flawless looks. It comes from embodying something rare, something most men never even think about. Safety, presence, peace. The ability to challenge her without breaking her. The courage to walk away with dignity, and the kind of desire that makes her feel chosen, not just noticed. What I'm about to share may feel uncomfortable. It might go against what you've always believed. But that's exactly why you need to hear it. Because once you understand these principles, you'll see why certain men stay in a woman's mind forever, and why others disappear without a trace. So listen closely, because the man who truly learns this doesn't just attract women, he becomes unforgettable. 1. She never forgets the man who makes her feel safe. If there is one truth that cuts deeper than looks, charm, or money, it is this. A woman will never forget the man who made her feel safe. Not just physically safe, but safe in her heart, safe in her mind, and safe in her soul. You can take her to expensive dinners, you can shower her with gifts, you can say all the right words. But if she does not feel safe with you, none of it lasts, none of it sticks. Because safety is the foundation on which trust is built, and trust is the foundation on which unforgettable bonds are carved into memory. Here's what most men don't understand. Safety is not only about protecting her from the world outside, it's about protecting her from the storm inside. When she's with you, does she feel judged? Does she feel like her emotions will be used against her? Or does she feel a rare kind of relief, the freedom to finally let down her guard? A woman's heart is naturally cautious. She won't open fully unless she knows you won't turn her vulnerability into a weapon. That's why when she meets the man who listens without mocking, who holds her pain without making her feel foolish, who stays calm when she unravels, she feels something rare. And trust me, she never forgets that. Picture this. Her world is collapsing. Stress, doubts, fear. They weigh on her chest like heavy stone. Most people would dismiss her. Most would tell her, "Calm down, stop overthinking, you're being dramatic." But the man she never forgets does something different. He looks at her with steady eyes and grounded strength and says, "I've got you. You don't need to figure this out alone." That moment changes everything. Her walls drop, her breathing softens, and in that silence, she feels what most women spend years searching for: peace. That moment will replay in her heart months later, even years later, even if you're no longer there. Because here's the truth. She may forget the gifts, she may forget the compliments, she may even forget your exact words, but she will never forget how her chest felt lighter when she was with you. That is what lingers. That is what she carries into the future. And once a woman has experienced that kind of safety, she cannot unfeel it. Every man she meets afterward will be measured against you. If he brings chaos, she'll remember your calm. If he brings stress, she'll remember your peace. And deep inside, she will know she once had something rare, something powerful, something unforgettable. That's why safety is the first secret. Not wealth, not looks, but the unshakable energy of a man who knows how to protect not just her body, but her soul. 2. She never forgets the man who truly listens. Here's something most men underestimate: the power of listening. Not the fake kind of listening where you nod your head while waiting for your turn to speak. Not the distracted kind where your eyes drift to your phone. I mean real active listening, the kind where she feels seen, heard, and understood without judgment. A woman never forgets the man who listens to her in a way that makes her feel her voice matters. Why? Because it's rare. In a world full of noise, people listen only to respond, not to understand, and women feel this every day. Friends half listen, family dismisses, co-workers interrupt, and most men, they hear just enough to get what they want, then tune out. But when a man slows down, locks in, and gives her his full presence, something shifts. His eyes don't wander, his mind doesn't race to fix her. He's just there, steady, absorbing her words. That man becomes unforgettable. Here's the truth. When a woman opens up, she isn't always looking for answers. Sometimes she just needs to release the weight she's been carrying inside. But most men get it wrong. They rush to solutions, dismiss her feelings, or make her believe she's overreacting. And every time they do, attraction dies a little. But the man who listens without judgment, who reflects back with simple words like, "I hear you," or "that sounds tough," that man builds something far stronger than attraction. He builds trust. And trust, once planted, grows roots that don't easily die. Think about it. A woman can forget compliments, she can forget small talk, but she never forgets the man who leaned in, remembered the details, and made her feel like her inner world actually mattered. Even years later, she'll compare others to him. When another man cuts her off, when someone dismisses her emotions, her mind will drift back. He never made me feel crazy. He actually listened. He understood me. That memory lingers because it's rare, it's valuable, it's unforgettable. And here's the Stoic truth behind it. Listening is not weakness. It is not passive. It is discipline. It is self-control. It is choosing to silence your ego so you can step fully into the moment with her. That is strength. That is power. So, understand this. Women don't remember the loudest man in the room. They remember the one who gave them silence, space, and presence. Because in a world full of men talking over them, the man who truly listens stands out like light in the dark. 3. She never forgets the man who protects her peace. Every woman craves peace. It's one of the deepest, most sacred desires of the feminine heart. And yet, most men don't understand this truth. They think women are impressed by money, by status, by big gestures. But what truly makes a man unforgettable is not what he gives her on the outside. It's the emotional environment he creates on the inside. A woman will never forget the man who made her life calmer, lighter, and more stable instead of stressful, chaotic, and heavy. Think about it. Many women live surrounded by storms. Family drama, competitive friends, demands from work, the scars of past relationships. And often the men who enter her life add to that chaos instead of removing it. They bring arguments, they bring insecurity, they bring tension. And she learns to brace herself even in love. But the man who is different, the one who protects her peace instead of disturbing it, becomes unforgettable. And this doesn't mean you have to be perfect, emotionless, or cold. It doesn't mean you hide your feelings. It means you know how to master yourself. When challenges come, you don't lose control. When she vents, you don't dismiss her. When things get hard, you don't project your anger onto her. Instead, you stand grounded, steady, and calm. With you, she feels like she doesn't need to keep her guard up. With you, she can finally exhale. Most men don't realize how rare that is. Many confuse protecting her peace with being a yes man, always agreeing, never setting boundaries. But that's not peace, that's weakness. True peace comes when a man has the discipline to say no to drama, to stand firm when it matters, and to refuse to let chaos rule his life. And here's the truth. Women respect men who can stay composed under pressure. They respect the man who does not get dragged into emotional games, who can lead with stability instead of reacting with fire. That kind of strength makes her feel safe, calm, and free, and that is unforgettable. Years later, even if she is with someone else, she will compare him to you. If her new partner brings stress, arguments, or insecurity, she'll think back. It was never like this with him. With him, I felt peace. I felt safe. That thought will haunt her, because once she has experienced peace with you, she can never unfeel it. So remember this. Protecting her peace doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means creating an environment where her soul can rest. And when you become that man, you don't just win her attention for a moment. You etch yourself into her memory forever. 4. She never forgets the man who challenges her. Here's a truth most men ignore. Women may enjoy being admired, spoiled, and pursued, but they do not forget the man who challenges them. The man who isn't afraid to call her out, push her to grow, or refuse to tolerate her games. That man is rare. That man is unforgettable. Most men do the opposite. They bend over backward to keep her happy. They agree with everything she says. They avoid conflict at all costs. And at first, she may enjoy the attention. She may even smile at how easy it is to get her way. But deep down, she does not respect it. Because a man who never challenges her is predictable. He is easy to manipulate. And eventually he becomes forgettable. But when she meets a man who is different, a man strong enough to stand firm, calm enough to hold his ground, and wise enough to challenge her when she slips into weakness, something shifts inside her. She may resist it in the moment, she may argue, but secretly, she admires it. Picture this. She's being dramatic, testing boundaries, or trying to pull you into emotional games. Most men would fold instantly, desperate to avoid tension. But you hold steady. You look at her with calm strength and say, "I'm not entertaining this nonsense." That moment burns into her memory, because you just showed her something most men never do: discipline, boundaries, and leadership. This isn't about fighting with her. It isn't about being harsh or controlling. It's about refusing to live for her validation. It's about showing her that you have principles and that you will not betray them just to win her approval. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to please her is the moment she begins to respect you. Because women don't forget the men who shape them. If you're the reason she grew more disciplined, more self-aware, more accountable, she will always remember you. You were not just another man chasing her. You were the man who raised her standards, even for herself. And years later, when she meets men who are too easy, too agreeable, too desperate to avoid conflict, she will think, "They don't challenge me the way he did." That comparison will stick. That memory will linger. Here's the Stoic truth. Emotional tension fuels attraction. Not chaos, not drama, but the respectful challenge of a man who refuses to be weak. A man who challenges her to rise higher, just as he does for himself. So don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to draw the line. Don't be afraid to let her know that your respect is something she must earn, not something you hand out freely. Because the man who challenges her is the man she never forgets. 5. She never forgets the man who made her feel desired. Here's something most men never truly understand. Women are constantly being noticed, complimented, watched, desired on the surface. But there is a world of difference between being looked at and being truly desired. A woman never forgets the man who made her feel not just attractive, but deeply wanted. Desired in a way that went beyond her looks, beyond shallow compliments, beyond surface-level attention. Most men get this wrong. Some overdo it, showering her with empty flattery. "You're so hot, you're gorgeous," words repeated so often they lose all meaning. Others, in fear of seeming needy, hold back completely, offering her nothing to feed her feminine energy. But the man who strikes the balance, the man who looks into her eyes with steady presence, who makes her feel like she's the only woman in the world, that man stays in her mind. And here's the truth. Making a woman feel desired isn't just about what you say. It's about energy. It's the way you look at her, not just at her body but at her essence. It's the way you touch her, not desperately but with calm confidence, like a man fully in control of himself. It's the way you carry yourself around her, communicating without words, "I don't need you, but I want you, and I want you deeply." That kind of energy is magnetic, and it's unforgettable. Because women forget the generic compliments, they forget the surface-level attention. But they never forget the man who ignited a fire in them, the man who looked at them in a way that made their knees weak, the man who didn't just notice them, but claimed them, not with desperation, but with presence, strength, and masculine desire. And here's the paradox. The man who makes her feel desired isn't the one trying the hardest. He's the one who doesn't need to try. His restraint makes his passion more powerful. His calmness makes his intensity undeniable. And that balance? It burns into her memory. Even if she moves on, even if she's with someone else, that memory lingers. Because deep inside, every woman wants to feel chosen, wanted, and feminine in the presence of a strong man. If you gave her that experience, she will carry it with her, whether she admits it or not. Most men either drown her in neediness or starve her with indifference. But the man who can walk the razor's edge between self-control and raw desire, that man is unforgettable. And years later, when she lies awake at night, she won't be thinking of the man who told her she was pretty. She'll be thinking of the one who made her feel alive, the one who made her feel feminine, the one who made her feel desired. 6. She never forgets the man who walked away with dignity. There is one kind of man a woman will remember for years, sometimes for the rest of her life. It's not the man who begged, not the man who argued, not the man who tried to prove his worth. No, the man she never forgets is the one who walked away with quiet dignity. Most men, when a woman pulls back or disrespects them, do the same predictable things. They panic, they chase harder, they send desperate texts. They try to remind her of their value through arguments, gifts, or constant pleas for attention. And every time they do this, they confirm her suspicion that she was above them all along. But the man who does the opposite, the man who calmly accepts reality, who doesn't fight for crumbs, who refuses to lower his standards, that man leaves a permanent mark. Why? Because he showed her something she never expected. He wasn't afraid of losing her. He wasn't dependent on her approval. He was willing to walk away, not out of anger, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And that shakes her, because deep down it forces her to confront a truth she cannot escape. If he can walk away, it's because he knows he can be wanted elsewhere. That realization stings in a way compliments never could. Here's what makes it unforgettable. Most women are used to men folding under pressure. They're used to desperate last attempts, emotional outbursts, and messy goodbyes. But the man who simply withdraws with composure, the man who stays calm, controlled, and dignified, he becomes impossible to forget. Because instead of lowering his value in the moment of rejection, he raised it. Instead of chasing, he chose himself. Instead of clinging, he let go. And in doing so, he proved what few men ever do, that his worth is not tied to any one woman. Trust me, she will replay that moment in her mind long after you've gone. She will remember the silence more than she remembers any words you ever said. She will remember how your calmness made her question herself. And she will compare every man who comes after you to that standard of dignity. That's why walking away with strength isn't weakness. It's power. And it's the kind of power that carves your presence into her memory forever. 7. She never forgets the man who made her feel safe. If there is one experience a woman cannot erase, it is the feeling of safety in the presence of a strong man. Not just safety from the outside world, but safety in her heart, her emotions, and her soul. Because deep down, every woman craves one thing more than excitement, more than beauty, more than passion: security. And here's the truth. Most men get this wrong. They think safety means muscles or fighting off threats or standing taller than the next guy. And yes, physical strength matters. But that is only the surface. Real safety runs deeper. It is emotional. It is spiritual. It is the steady presence of a man who can be relied on when life gets hard. A woman never forgets the man who showed up when others ran, the one who didn't crumble under pressure, the one whose word meant something, the one who didn't let his emotions spiral when things became difficult. That kind of man builds trust, not just in her mind, but in her nervous system. And once she has felt it, she cannot unfeel it. Think about it. She may date men who are fun, attractive, even thrilling. But if those men also made her feel unstable, insecure, or unsure of where she stood, they fade from her memory like smoke. But the man who gave her peace of mind, the man who created an environment where she could relax into her feminine energy, where she didn't have to constantly question herself, that is the man who stays etched into her memory forever. Because safety is not about being soft or overprotective. It's about balance. It's about being calm when others lose control. It's about consistency when others are unpredictable. It's about strength without unnecessary aggression. That is the kind of man she can lean into. That is the kind of man she will never forget. Even years later, even if she tries to move on, every new man she meets will be measured against that standard. If he cannot provide the same sense of safety, she will remember you. She will feel the difference in her chest even if she cannot explain it with words. And here's the irony. In the moment, she may chase excitement, adventure, or attraction. But in the long run, what she values most and what she remembers most is safety. And the man who gave her that will always hold a permanent place in her heart, whether she admits it or not. At the end of the day, women don't forget the man who leaves an emotional fingerprint on their soul. Not the man with the biggest muscles, not the man with the flashiest car, not the man with the most clever words. They remember the man who made them feel something they could not find anywhere else. If you gave her peace, she won't forget it. If you listened when no one else did, she won't forget it. If you challenged her, if you made her feel desired, if you walked away with dignity, if you carried yourself with unshakable calm, she will never forget you, because attraction fades, looks change, excitement burns out. But the emotions you awaken in her stay locked inside her memory. That is why, even years later when she lies awake at night, she will think of you. That is why when she meets new men, she will compare them to you. And that is why the man who understands female psychology and carries himself with stoic discipline is unforgettable. Here's the truth you must carry. Being unforgettable is not about chasing or proving yourself to a woman. It is about mastering yourself, grounding yourself, building strength and dignity so deeply that your very presence speaks louder than words. This is what Stoic Reflections is all about. Teaching you the timeless wisdom that makes you unshakable in life, love, and the battles within your own mind. If this message resonates with you, support the mission. Like this video, share it with a brother who needs to hear it, and subscribe to join this journey. Because when you learn to embody these truths, you will no longer need to beg for attention. You will become the man she can never forget.